Our next speaker is Lisa Disbrow, who grew up and went to school here in the San Francisco East Bay, Richmond, California. And she's from a working class family and which values the education as a means of rising up for greater opportunity. She has experienced firsthand the shortcomings of our public school system, and we will hear some of the stories, I'm sure, for that. Desiring quality education for all children has brought her into opposition with our policy makers at times. She is a fighter for parental rights, school choice, and a meaningful, beneficial education. She has been a career of a bilingual Spanish teacher, where she would teach the newcomers to our country who don't speak English how to assimilate into our culture through learning English. So, there's more to Lisa's story, but I'm going to let her tell about that, and I'd like to welcome her up.
Well, I have to warn you guys, my dad had a car lot. So my dad was a salesman, a used car salesman. So one of the things he did was he gave me the gift of gab. So I'm okay with the hook, because this is a topic that is so important and is so messed up. And the suffering that radical activists have caused for so many is kind of undescribable. I grew up in Richmond. I realized that my district had many, many problems. I grew up in the 60s. I was in a high school where we had police on the roof one day with police dogs and rifles because we were rioting again. So I grew up in a lot of racial violence, racial disunity, and fortunately I went to a church where we had 2 school board members who really cared about bringing all these problems to the forefront and finding ways to make things better. There was racism, no doubt, and you can't sweep that under the floor and under the rug. So anyway, at 15, a little boy needed help. He was a Spanish speaker. At that point in California, we didn't have bilingual education. I was learning Spanish. I have a Spanish grandma, and I always felt it was my duty as the grandkid to learn that language. It just was in me. None of my other siblings cared about that. And so I thought, well, I've been studying Spanish all this time. I'll go and tutor this little guy. And it brought me into a world that I didn't know. And I became a bilingual teacher. And I thought, well, when I have my career, I'll be teaching these kids English, right? The language of access. Guess what I taught? Spanish. So I denied these children at a very young age access to becoming English fluent. My greatest sin in all of my educational career was responding to parents who asked if I could teach. At that time I moved into kindergarten because that's where the reading foundation begins. And the moms, because I learned how to teach reading. It is not that hard. And every time you hear teachers and superintendents and board meetings talk about how complicated it is, that's deception. They want you to think, oh, I could never do that. Yes, you could. It's very easy. And you just have to note a sequence and keep at it and work with a child. And pretty soon, pop, pop, pop. They're reading and they're so excited, and so are you, and the world transforms in a heartbeat, right? So my big sin in education was that I taught at the request of the Spanish-speaking moms in February. I started teaching the kids how to read in English. I had been teaching them to read and write, and they were excelling, and no one in my district cared. Not the superintendent, not the bilingual educator, not the English language development person, not my principal, not my staff, nobody. I'm like, what's going on? I'm confused. I thought this was exciting, innovative, happening right here in River City. Nope. So I got in big trouble for teaching the kids how to read. I got in big trouble. I got an unsatisfactory evaluation. Like, wait. I had the highest test scores in Spanish. Teachers are begging me, the first grade teachers, why didn't you give me more of your students? And usually it was because I didn't respect them as a teacher. So I didn't give my students to people I didn't respect. Why should I let them screw up a kid? That's how I think. So anyway, I taught the kids how to read and write in 2 languages on a 3-hour program in a public school. And I got an unsatisfactory evaluation. I got pulled off of all the other projects that I had created for myself to serve the preschool mothers and children. I taught during the summer for free, and I got in big trouble. So I fought it, and the result was I had to leave the school. And eventually I got to a school where that was English only, after being in a school that was exceptionally violent afterwards. But what I want to go back and tell you is that the transformation that you're seeing today is an intentional design. It is over 100 years old. The Teachers Union in 1980 decided to go LGBT. They use the word queer. So they talk about queering the classroom. We're now in our 16th year of LGBT teachers' conferences. They're massive conferences. We're not talking 100 people. We're talking thousands. And so everything that you're seeing was happening. I started my credential program in 78, 79. It was happening. What they did at that point in time is they used multiculturalism, the whole bilingual issue. And they have a rinse, wash, repeat cycle. The cycle is say, there's a problem, there's a problem, there's a problem. Then they come up with a solution. They put tons of money. Well, here's the way you can get money, superintendent, board members.
Yep.
And then they get their curriculum designers, they get Columbia Teaching College, they get authors to build books around it, legislation, that's the worst. And they tie you into that, they enforce it on the kids, it fails. But they don't tell you it's failing. They don't let you know. And if you start talking about the failure, then you get sidelined. And then they move on to another shiny penny problem. No solutions, nobody cares. This is an old California cycle. So what I want to say is in 2015, the California Healthy Youth Act, AB 329, blew open the door on all things sexual. When it mandated that sexual orientation and gender ideology be introduced into all subject matters, kindergarten through 12th grade. So that's when we got the infamous, horrible genderbread. And it separated feelings to body parts to behavior. At the same time, just so you know, if you ever have any interest in looking up queerintheworld.org, you will see that the plus, LGBTQIA plus, has over 50 groups of identities, behaviors. Now these include BDSM, rubber and latex, furries, minor attracted persons, which is pedophilia. 50 of these groups. So every time your school districts are being asked to pass all these resolutions for Transgender Awareness Week, Polyamorous Awareness Week, they always include the plus. A really brave Temecula City councilwoman, Jessica Alexander, investigated the plus and said, oh my gosh, how can we, as city council supervising this city of Temecula, endorse the plus for our city when this had so many concerns? She said, why would we give the 50 plus groups a blank check by affirming this resolution? And that I would speak that to all of you. You need to recognize that this plus is sneaky and dangerous. I want to give credit to Erin Friday. Erin Friday is a local attorney, and her daughter came into the kitchen and said, hey Mom, I'm really a boy. 12. Erin said, go do your homework, stop talking silly. That wasn't the solution. They ended up in quite difficult times. Her daughter did run away from home. Erin did not know what to do. That was several years ago. And as a result, Erin has organized or partnered with a group called Our Duty. And it's in England, Australia, and the US. And she discovered how it is to address a child going through this kind of situation. And the root problem was the school. And all the kids, all the girls, were picking their favorite identity of the week, or every 2 weeks. And they finally bump through enough of them until they get to, I'm really a boy, trapped in a girl's body. So I love this sign. It says, puberty is not a disease. That is something that we need to be saying to people constantly. And I don't know where my other signs are. One of the really great things about her website, ourduty.group, is she has tons of information. She lent me her signs. My car is full of her signs. I go to the Lafayette Art and Wine Festival, the Moraga Pear Festival. I stand out on the street with my signs. I'm not very popular in my community. And I just had a conversation with the Acalanes Union's high school district superintendent, where he called me hysterical. And I said, what have I ever said that's hysterical? Well, I'm telling the truth. That's what I'm doing. I'm just telling the truth. And I care for all these people. There's another great group called Advocates Protecting Children. Advocates Protecting Children. And what's fabulous about, if you go to YouTube or Epoch Times and you put in Erin Friday, you'll see her interviews. They're moving. She talks about her family's struggle. You'll also meet Chloe Cole. Chloe, at 12, decided she too was really a boy. And she pressured her family to consenting finally to surgery, a mastectomy at 15. She now has come to know the Lord, and she is standing up on her, excuse me, on her 19th birthday. She spoke to Congress. It gives me chills. And she and many other who have been wounded by this confusion, deception, really it's a moneymaker. And I'm totally off my script, but let me just tell you this. Right now in the state of California, think dollar signs.
Yep.
The dollar signs are on health, mental health, safety. And how do I know that? Because I go to the website. I see it. And I come from Moraga. We're a little tiny school district. We have 3 elementaries, 1 middle school. Each one of those schools has a wellness center and an LGBT club at lunchtime. You know why they do it at lunchtime? They've been caught on video saying this. Because then mom and dad don't have to drag them to another event. Mom and dad don't have to give them permission. Sneaky, sneaky, sneaky. So I'm just going to tell you, whenever a teacher union representative is talking to you, they may be the nicest person. You are being deceived. I will tell you the parting shot my principal told me in June of 21. We were Zooming. I Zoomed with 5-year-olds. I can tell you I saw a lot of tonsils. I saw a lot of body parts I shouldn't have seen. Like, oh, don't do that. It was fun and horrible. I ended up in counseling. I could not take it. I could not take watching this be called teaching. I could not take what I saw happening in the families. So horrible. I would put on my sunglasses after Zooming and walk and cry through Moraga. And the Lord just kept revealing and revealing and revealing more of this intense web. Every organization connected to education is corrupt. There is not a good guy. Your principal can say, oh, well, I'm this and I'm that and la la la. Yeah, you're still letting in all this horrible stuff. And you're still silencing parents. And one of the people here today said, what can we do? Well, you know what? We're not doing enough. I'm asking, where are you? Where are you? Are you going to a board meeting? Do you know that you can watch them online and then kind of get your bearings? It's really helpful. But when people don't stand up, who continues? That's what we're seeing. And we now have some really good legislation. Oh my gosh. We are going to come out with 3 initiatives for the 24 election. One is on banning medicalization of minors. Is that fantastic?
Oh, yeah.
Number 2, protecting women's sports and private places.
Yes.
I'm a swim mom, water polo mom. I'd kill somebody trying to get into that bathroom with the girls. No. And I'll go there in just a second. And the 3rd one is sports. Oh, parental notification policies. So when my daughter sprained her ankle, they called me. When my daughter had a headache or nausea or whatever, they called me. But when your kid is saying, hey, I'm really a boy, or I'm really a girl, and I want to be called this, but don't tell my parents, but it's okay that everybody in the school knows. That is bizarre. Our parental rights are being attacked. Wait till I tell you this. In 2 school districts, I wanted to see an event. They have these things called academy, where they indoctrinate kids, and they say it's to support their remedial learning so that they pass their tests. Anyway, I asked to go watch one. No way, Jose. I am considered dangerous because my views are clear. I couldn't be escorted in and sat with another adult and just view this information, this presentation. Meanwhile, guess who was leading the information for the 9th graders? The junior and seniors, the leaders of the campus. They now are taking junior and senior high schoolers and bringing them into the elementary classrooms to indoctrinate and teach the kids about diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging. You clearly see the plan. So we have to stop being cowards. I had to stop being a coward. I was faced with, in August of 21, going back into my classroom, masking 5-year-olds, teaching them to be afraid of each other, not to share materials. As a teacher of 34 years, I've lived through lots of viruses. I teach in the Slurpee Glurpee group. Everything goes in the mouth and then, hey, let me share it with you, right? I mean, fighting colds and flus was my second career. Keep those doors open. Oh, you don't look so well today. Time to go home. Pajama day for you. Right? Common sense. Soap and water. Common sense. So I sat in the first day of that school year staff training and started crying because everything I heard was so oppressive. The teaching staff was completely consumed with fear. No one was thinking about, hey, how would the 7-year-olds react to this? How would the 9-year-olds react to this? I was bawling. I was very embarrassed. And so I'm a Christian. I believe God does not want us to participate in confusion, and so I took that millstone and I threw it away and let my principal know I couldn't do that. I didn't want to do that. I was sad. But I have lots of books. I'd love to show you horrible books. This is all about sexualization. Straight, gay, twisted, whatever. No, not for minors. So I see that I got the hook. So thank you very much.
Lisa, thank you very much. this is one of the titles of our program today, is the moral challenges. That was laid out very clearly from your experience, and it's a reality that many of us do not nearly know to the extent that you do. So thank you for educating us and bringing this important point out. It is something that we need to look at a lot closer.
Yeah.
Thank you again.